Now, I just wanted to put this at the front because one of the things that I found interesting is there seems to be this attitude that you don't speak about YouTubers when you're a YouTuber. And I unfortunately have done that, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the video or not, but like I've criticised Ketwalski and Doomcock and Ned Roddick and a few other people, and you don't do that, and that's something that will get you ostracised from the group if you are in the group. I was never in the group anyway. But I have done that, and I had a run-in with Mr. H as well, because one of the things I don't like about Midnight's Edge is they don't read out people's messages. They only read out super chats and people who pay them. And so I always comment on their channels. I know they're never going to read them out. But Mr. H, when he was on, saw a comment about him and read it out and started an argument with me and was punching down when I wasn't on air and couldn't actually respond. But that's something that I think is why Mecca's in trouble, and just something that I think has sort of hurt me as well, is that, but I think it's very unhealthy to not talk about people and to cover for people. I think that's what it is. There's this whole thing of doing things behind closed doors. I'm like, well, you shouldn't have to do anything behind closed doors if it's not dodgy or if it's not shady. I really think it's better off to talk about things out in the open in public. I'm glad the girls have finally done that, but they probably should have done that in the first place. It would have been probably easier. But it is something that's frowned upon by some people, so I guess it would be difficult. So I just wanted to put that in there before I get to the rest. Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, it's getting a bit messy on YouTube at the moment. The other night I was listening to Midnight's Edge live stream, and they were going on about problems with someone going public with a dispute that they had with them, and they were going on and on and on about this woman, and I'm like, is that Mecca they're talking about? And Tom slipped up and actually said Mecca, and I'm like, oh wow, I didn't know that was an issue. I was aware, I had noticed she'd sort of disappeared off their channel. That I just assumed she was happier doing cooking streams or something and didn't really think about it. But apparently it was a whole thing that had been happening for over a year, and she finally came out and said something about it. Now, I don't know anything about this personally. I've just sort of read comments and watched some videos and just sort of observed a few things, just to say that up front. And also, start off with Mecca. Mecca does have a... She does say things that are outrageous that she doesn't take any responsibility for. She is guilty of that. When I first sort of found her online, it was not long after Star Trek Discovery had started, and she was in trouble because she was calling it short bus trek, and that's something someone else had said, and she was repeating it, and she was being attacked, and her defense was, well, I didn't make it up. And it's like, well, you didn't have to repeat it. And I was fairly offended by that, personally, and I was one of the people criticising her on a video, and she was basically attacking people, defending herself and saying, look, instead of attacking me for my opinion, why don't you go make your own channel and, have your opinions? So instead of attacking other people for their opinions, why don't you just, state yours and do videos and say what you think? So I went and did that. I had a bunch of subscribers from my Madonna videos, live ones that I put up, and I hadn't really done anything with it. And I decided, well, I'm just going to make my own little channel. I'll just talk about stuff. And not long after that, after doing a bunch of videos on Star Trek and that, because it was mostly, like I said, a Madonna channel from Madonna videos, but I still managed to get some views in that. And I was really kind of impressed with Midnight's Edge and some of the videos and what they did. And they were getting a lot of criticism for being homophobic and racist and sexist and everything. And I sort of thought, you know what, maybe you could benefit from having someone like me on your panel, someone who is a fan and gay and still doesn't like the way Star Trek is going and how they're dealing with the gay characters and that. And they pretty much laughed me off and just said, look, go away. You're nobody. So it was very clear that they weren't going to help me, and I was never going to be part of that group. And I had a bit of a chip on my shoulder about that for a while, because that's a little hurtful, because I felt they could really benefit from having a gay voice, and I know I have very few subscribers, so I can't benefit them from that. And that was sort of the attitude. It was like, well, we have all these subscribers, we're big, we don't need anyone like you can't do anything for us, so why would we want to do something for you, was basically what I got out of that. So that said, Mecca has gotten in trouble a few times with saying things like that. And one time she really offended me as well was when she was talking about when Rick Moranis was assaulted by this black guy. She went into a rant about George Floyd and how he wasn't killed by the cop and that he was on drugs and it was his fault and she's supposed to care about that, but yet, no one cares about Rick Moranis or something. And I'm just like, wow, how did she get to that? And that was pretty offensive, but I let it go. And I think sometimes with people who are over the top, and sometimes you just let them go and just, there's no point trying to argue with them, because I've tried to argue with her once or twice on Twitter, and she's not rational at all. So when she argues, she just gets weird and nasty. So I'm like, I just didn't answer messages and that. So I'm aware that she's guilty of a few things, was the whole point of all that. She's not perfect, but what she's said about Tom is something now that is being said about other people, much like other people have been exposed for things. Now, again, I wasn't there, I don't know. This is all alleged, and I'm just sharing my opinions or what I've heard other people say. I'm not declaring to know anything or have proved anything. But Tom has now been exposed for having a reputation for bullying people, especially women. There's Mary Mayhem, and I think apparently a few others are talking out now, as well as Mecca. And there's a very double-sided sort of criticism of them. They're saying, well, Mary Mayhem, that they're not showing any proof, but then they're saying, oh, Mecca shouldn't have gone public with DMs and stuff like that, which is proof. So you can't win either way. The point is you're bad. Basically my feeling, and this is my feeling from watching Midnight Stage and that, despite the information and entertainment value of some of the videos, they're basically very misogynistic, homophobic, sexist, the stereotype toxic fandom that they have been accused of being. They're very much like that, in my opinion. And I was always surprised that they had all these people on their show. Like, how can you have black people and Latino people and women on your channel speaking to you and participating in your videos when you appear to be racist, homophobic, sexist, all that? And what I didn't realize, which is allegedly happening, or was happening, was that basically, because they need other voices, they need to talk to people, they need to bounce their ideas and things off people and their rants and that. And basically people had sort of entered supposedly, allegedly, a sort of pro rata or whatever thing where basically they would come onto their show and help them out by being, extra voices and that. And then they would help use their platform of hundreds of thousands of viewers to promote them and help their channels. So there seemed to be a little bit of soul selling here where people were coming on under that context. And then apparently, allegedly, Andre and some of the others, or at least Andre, was being very bullying and verbally abusive. And the reason why I was able to do this was because he had power, he had a bigger voice, and he could basically say, you're ungrateful, you don't appreciate what we're doing for you with your channel, how we're helping you and supporting you. Without us, you'd be nothing. And threatening people, intimidating people into doing what he wanted and saying what he wanted and following the line he was drawing, basically by threatening to cut them off on some level and reminding them constantly that they would be no one without their support. And being someone who tried to get that support and was rejected, I feel like that probably happened. I can imagine that happening. I believe that happened. Again, I wasn't there. I don't know. I don't have any proof. I'm not offering any proof. But I believe that's what happened. And hearing Mary Mayhem talk was very upsetting. Being like a victim of verbal abuse and emotional abuse. I had two family members who were abusive. One was only emotionally, psychologically, mentally. The other one was that, and physically. It was hard to listen to another victim and hear their experience of being bullied and threatened and cornered and screamed at and intimidated, and the shame that they felt of being controlled by that, and controlled by the fear of losing their platform or losing their subscribers and that. And I must say, for a while there, I was actually getting more viewers and more subscribers and that. And it was when I criticised Midnight's Edge and Doomcock that suddenly people were telling me, oh, we're not supporting you anymore. And then my views dropped and my subscribers dropped. And I didn't realise I was getting a little bit of help from a couple of people. They were sharing stuff and telling people to go to me and that. And they cut me off. And my channel was dead for a little while. And it's still pretty quiet. It plugs along at a slow pace. I'll get there eventually. But you can't really do it without the help and support of people in the community and the bigger platforms, which I don't have. A couple of the Madonna people approached me to be on panels and talk to them about Madonna, but I didn't want to do that because I knew the person they wanted, because I'm seen as like a Madonna hater and very critical of her and not a fan. And people sort of wanted me on their shows to sort of be the bad guy and argue with, and I didn't want to do that or be that, so I sort of said no to that. But you kind of need that, and I understand how some people might have been intimidated into putting up with things and staying in what was essentially an abusive working relationship because of those sort of perks of being associated with and helped and supported by these people with powerful voices. And that's often what people in corporations and businesses do that have power. They use that against the people below them, and it's just really disturbing to hear. Now, so far as Mecca, the thing that because she had this fight going with Mundane Matt, and I think this started back then because she was talking about him. Apparently, if you're a YouTuber, you're not supposed to speak out about other YouTubers, and I've talked about Ketwalski and Doomcock and a few other people, and apparently that's a no-no. So they have done that now, so now they're like in the bad books. And she did that a while ago with Tom. Now I stopped listening to not Tom. I keep saying Tom. Mundane Matt. Now I stopped listening to Mundane Matt a while ago because he supported Robert Meyer Burnett, who during the George Floyd race riots was basically saying shoot them all. He said it. He apologised for it, but his apology just seemed like excuses. And I stopped listening to him, and I stopped listening to Mundane Matt because he supported him. But I do remember when him and Mecca were fighting, and she threatened to sue him, and she didn't, and he was basically criticising her. And apparently one of the things that Tom wanted Mecca to do was to, supposedly, allegedly, was to bring him up and engage him again. I'm guessing the fighting and the got some attention. So yeah, it's just kind of fascinating to see that Mecca's falling out with these guys. And it's very much a boys' club, and they're all like, oh, she's so horrible. Oh, you poor thing. We've got your back, fellow patriarchal male. It's all a bit like that. That's how it feels. And I don't know. This is the second video I did. The first one just was like 25 minutes long. It was just too much. And I'm like trying to remember, what did I just say in this video versus what I said in the other video? I'm worried I've forgotten something. But I just started reading the tweets and looking at the videos, and there's a bunch of live streams which are 2 or 3 hours long I haven't finished getting through yet. And I just found it really disturbing but not surprising that it seems, supposedly, allegedly, that Midnight's Edge was basically taking advantage of minorities to try and support them because they're sort of attacked for being racist, sexist, homophobic, and it's a lot harder to be accused of that if you're surrounded by women and Mexican men and black men and who else do they have on the show? But yeah, I'm so tired. I had my Pfizer shot yesterday. I didn't sleep very well last night, and I'm tired. And I don't know if it's side effects from the second Pfizer shot or if it's just because I didn't sleep. But I feel like a zombie right now, so I apologise if this video is not the best. But I just want to talk about this for a minute because I just found it really disturbing to realise that possibly these women were being abused, and now I wonder how many more people. And it's one of those things where once one person talks, other people talk, it becomes a thing. And I mean, Tom also attacked Anna apparently because she has done a bunch of drawings where she's redrawn bad Marvel art sort of thing. Like she did her version of like the fat Wonder Woman who still looks sort of feminine. She still looked like a woman basically, and that was her point of doing that. And he associated that with being akin to the person who redrew someone's artwork. It was as a girl, and they redrew it basically saying she was too feminine and unrealistic. And she was sort of saying on the live stream that things like that should be brought up beforehand and not attacking people on live stream and stuff like that. And I just started listening to that that live stream and some of the others. So I've sort of been trying to work all this out. But the thing that Mecca did just recently that I think kind of got her in the most trouble, and we all know the story of Zack Snyder. His daughter killed herself. He left the Justice League. Josh Whedon took it over, ruined it. The Snyder Cut movement basically got his version made, and Geeks and Gamers, they wanted to be associated with Zack Snyder. They wanted to get him on their show basically, and they decided to do a fundraiser. Now, I'm very cynical. I believe they did all that just to get him on the show and to get attention and all that, and clicks and views. And he did do it. I was shocked that he agreed to do it, but he only did it with the sort of understanding that he would basically trash them. And he basically came on and said, "Look, I'm partnering with you guys to raise money for this charity because I think it's a good cause, but I'm not associated with you. Basically, you're a hate group, and I don't want to have anything to do with that." And I'm glad he did that and called them out, because I do believe they are a hate group. If you listen to Jeremy's rants about Trump and stuff like that, it's sort of undeniable. In my opinion. And after he did that, everyone was like, Snyder's evil because he betrayed these innocent fans who were trying to raise money for his charity, when, in my opinion, most of these people are toxic fans, and they were just using that charity and that as an excuse to get him on the show and try and get contact with him. And what happened after that was Mecca came out, because she really, really hated Zack Snyder for that and felt that he betrayed all those people. She came out and said maybe his daughter killed herself because he molested her, or he handed her around this alleged pedophile ring in Hollywood, and implied he was part of that. And that was really disturbing, and she didn't have any evidence, but her argument was, well, you don't have any proof it didn't happen. And yeah, so I'm not saying Mecca is innocent, because she does do these things, but there's no excuse for the abuse or bullying that is being alleged against Tom. Like, no amount of Mecca craziness justifies treating her like that. And being someone who, like I said, I don't know if I said this in our video or not, being someone who was raised in a family that had abusive people, I understand what it's like. And hearing another victim talking, like hearing Mary Mayhem talking about what happened to her, was kind of upsetting. And I just wanted to be a voice. I just wanted to talk about this, be one of the people talking about it. I just think it's really disturbing, and I do personally believe that this power abuse sort of has happened within this little community, and it's just really sad. But I'm really tired. I didn't sleep much last night. I don't know if I mentioned this again. I can't remember what I said in my last video. I had my second Pfizer shot, and I don't know if I'm tired because I didn't sleep, or tired because I'm sort of having side effects, but I'm just barely keeping my eyes open at the moment while I'm talking. So I'm going to go, because I'm probably going to stop making sense soon because I'm so tired. But I just want to talk about this. I just wanted to, I kind of threw Mecca under the bus because she's guilty of a few things, but that doesn't justify what has allegedly been done to her, and has allegedly been done to other women on the Fandom Menace. And I'm guessing, I'm guessing minorities as well have had the same sort of thing happen, where they've sort of signed a deal with the devil to get their channels promoted by supporting them, to make them look less like the toxic fans they've been accused of being. So I'm going to go. This is really long. I was trying to do another video and do a short video, but it turned out to be another long video, but I can't do it again because I can't keep track of what I said in the early part of the video versus what I said in the last video, and I tend to repeat stuff or I miss stuff out because I think I've already said it when I actually said it before. It's a mess. You got to do a really good script and do one video or do it in parts. You can't like do multiple takes or something because you cannot remember what you said and what you haven't said. But I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think of this situation. If you've had similar things happen. Like I've had sort of nasty messages from people from Midnight Station. I don't know who it was. So things like that. You know these people have influence and they sort of have an opinion. They sort of feel like they're in charge of like the Fandom Menace and everything. And I think a lot of these things that they're saying, other people are saying have happened. I just wanted to talk about that, but I really have to go. Talking too long, my eyes, I'm so tired. Sorry if this is not a great video. Bye.